Kurt.
Appears to be a quorum.
Yeah. Okay, we'll call the April 18th, 2018 Barnes County North School Board meeting to order. And we'd like to welcome our visitors tonight. Thanks for coming. You got thank yous, or who wants to?
Yeah, I got
You're gonna do that, Mr.
Yep.
Wilson? Okay.
Congratulations to the third quarter Herd Award winners, Max Fair, Kendra Greshik, Cole Revere, Annabeth Lint. Congratulations to Shannon Brand and Sarah Mueller for placing in the speech meet at Griggs County. Sarah also qualified for state. Congratulations to Allie Brand for placing in the AMVETS essay contest. Congratulations to Will Schwer for placing second at the ND North Dakota Individual Wrestling Tournament, and he was also chosen to be part of Team North Dakota. Congratulations to the following students for being chosen by the junior high and high school teachers for showing grit, growth, respect, integrity, and teachable qualities in the month of March. Brianna Bundy, Jacob Harstead, Justin Verba, Courtney Scholheis, Caden Quick, and Cade Piotz. Congratulations to our BCN students on their great showing at the Region 5 Music Contest. Shannon Brand and Annabeth Lint both qualified for the State Music Festival in Bismarck in May. Congratulations to Tyler Gassetti and Mason Haugen for placing at the Skills USA. Tyler placed second in welding, and Mason placed third for welding sculpture.
I'd like to add two, I was gonna add what you just had with the skills. Justin Schlinker placed in archery at state and also did a very good showing at nationals, and would recognize him. Also at the vocational center, we had Dennis Reinke, which is our welding instructor. He was given the award for the Skills USA Advisor of the Year. Also down there where Mason and Tyler got their awards about a week ago in Wahpeton. So also would like to include them in thank yous.
What was his name, Mike?
But Dennis Reinke, he's our welding instructor at Vocational Center. Okay. Agenda, we have one addition that we need under old business. Would be the approval for out-of-state travel for the choir. That'll go under C. Do we have any others?
I don't know what that would be yet for the band tour.
Okay.
Just a note here that policy committee will be looking at creating a policy to address this in the future.
All right. So then we would need approval of the agenda with that one addition.
Also move.
Second. All in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Amended agenda. Next is our consent agenda, which covers our minutes, bills, and financial reports. If there's any questions on any of those three items.
If not, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
No, that's roll.
Let's roll call. Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Sure.
All is approved. Move to old business, we got formal contract approvals. That's just to show all back or?
They're all signed and back,
Okay.
so we just have to have an official approval of it.
Oh, okay.
You approved to issue them, we issued them, and now we have to have an approval to
We
accept
need-
them.
We need to
Yes.
make a motion to accept the contracts.
Accept the contract, basically. Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the contracts as they were proposed.
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Michelle. That'll be also a roll call. Amy?
Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes,
Brett?
Yes.
that is approved. Non-certified negotiations discussion, which that amounts to is, I think we talked a little about budget and finance. We've always kind of just visited with that staff. We've kind of bounced around, we can probably do that in the report later, but we've kind of talked where we think we were looking to be. But we just want to touch base with them and just schedule a little meeting just to have a sit down. So, do we give that to who, before it would be like Deb and Bud, or who would be the person to try to line that up with? You know, who we contact, or who should we talk to?
Probably Kim and Bud and probably Dave, and then you could do Deb,
The department head.
But I mean, they kind of brought, yeah, then they brought a
Yeah.
group, so.
because that would cover the four
Oh, Bud doesn't cover two parts, okay.
Yeah, I guess Bud would cover
Who would cover the-
plant and transportation,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Bud and Kim and Deb probably.
So that's in the works, shouldn't have to do anything
I
with
will
that.
contact them, but look, make sure, I don't know if Mr. Severson did that, we talked about that the other night, that we wanted to do that. That's kind of the thought, we'll talk a little more about if you want to, when we get down to our reports, but that's where we're at with that. But the goal would not be to talk about, so we can finalize it next month. That's where we'd be at, so we want to get it finalized in May. So. Next would be the approval of the out-of-state travel, and they were gonna have something together, or we might have something, Mr. Wilson, for, or,
I don't, he didn't give me anything for the out-of-state travel.
Okay.
That was just the note where the policy committee would get
we'll have to look at
together
it.
and look at creating a policy, because I know the band does it, but I also know that we also send elementary over to Minnesota for the plays and all that stuff, so
Right.
we would have to look at that as well.
So we'd be just making a motion to approve out-of-state travel for the choir.
Band and choir trip.
Yep.
I move that we approve out-of-state travel for the band and choir trip.
Okay.
I second.
Second by Cindy. Any other discussion? If not, that's roll call to you.
Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes,
Brett?
Yes.
that is approved. New business, approval of election board. You have names for that, or what do you got there?
I don't, basically, it's just to approve for me to contact people, get them lined up so that we can pay them, and, you have to approve the polling place as being the school.
Right.
So that's what I need, is just
So we don't
approval.
need names for this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've only got 2 people so far, but
Do we need to do it now, or could we do it next month when we have, usually we've had names, so I'm just saying, we usually have names when we've done this.
okay.
Because we've approved certain people.
When does it have to be approved by?
Well, the polling place has to be approved at this meeting.
We can do that, I mean,
Yeah.
can the other be waited?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
because we've
can.
always approved names.
I've got Mary Plum and Rolene Richards,
So we
and,
should fill the slate, so, but we can
And-
approve the polling place, and next
Yeah.
month, bring it back on there to approve the names.
yeah. We'll do that.
Okay, so we're looking to approve the polling place at the school for the election. That's all we need.
I'll make a motion to approve the school as a polling place, and then we'll review the names at the next meeting.
Is there a second for this motion?
Second.
That would be roll call too.
Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Okay, that is approved. Credit card corporate resolution.
We do not have a current corporate resolution authorizing me to use the credit card and actually create an online account or be able to call the credit card company to follow up on charges and things like that. So until that is done, they won't talk to me at all if I have a question on a bill. So we just need, I have a form.
Is it to change your name from the previous business manager, basically?
Yes.
Basically,
Okay.
that's what
Yes,
it
that's
is.
basically what it is.
Okay.
I need to address that in the minutes and turn you into the designated contact person, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an actual form that the credit card company has that we need your signature on, so the board has to approve it.
So I make a motion to approve the credit card corporation and putting Amy Darby as our person. I'll second that.
And by Michelle. Roll call on that.
Ann?
Yes. Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
That's
So you're gonna
approved.
need that in your minutes, aren't you, in order to prove it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Head girls basketball coach resignation.
I got the letter
Okay,
from,
then.
yeah, from Miss Heinze here. I am sending this letter to inform you that I am resigning from my position as head coach of the Lady Bison basketball program. I have very much enjoyed my time coaching these young ladies, but due to personal reasons, I am resigning my position. There are numerous aspects of the position that I will miss, but feel this is the best decision for me at this time. The school, parents, and players have been positive and supportive during my short time as their head coach, and I have appreciated that. Sincerely, Tracy Heinze.
We do need a motion to accept that resignation.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, that's roll call.
Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Staffing discussion, who's heading that, Mr.
Me,
Wilson?
yep.
Okay.
The administration is recommending that BCN hire a full-time person for the 2018-19 school year in preschool. The program will be 2 sections, 2 days per week, with the 5th day duties being determined by need. The person hired in this position will move to kindergarten the following year for 2019-2020, and the plan is to have this person continue to follow this class throughout elementary. This also would mean that Mrs. Tina Brin will be 100% MTSS coordinator for year 1, allowing her to get everything in order, ensure that it is operating as we want it to. And then the plan is that she takes the MTSS coordinator position and the preschool position the following year.
And we talked about this a little at Budget and Finance, just to roll through, and our recommendation is that to hire 3 positions and have a full-time preschool with Mrs. Bren doing the full-time MTSS next year. We've looked at that too, if there's any questions there, but that's what we're recommending. So you need a motion for that, or just
Yeah,
pretty much?
Yep.
That's our,
yep, that's where you want to go. And just a little background on, we got 26 preschoolers for next year.
Wow.
So we were expecting at the beginning, halfway through, that we were gonna have about 13. And it's pretty much double in size. Once we got to.
What is the breakdown on in-district versus out-of-district? of those 26?
There's 4 out of district, right? Miss Britt? 5. So we got to 21,
We're
and then
still high, yeah.
we're still
Yeah,
high, and so we say,
absolutely.
well, we might as well let them in too, since some of those already have kids in our school. So, if we can get all 26 of them, we should do that. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a difficult scheduling problem, and we can't rely on having 26 the following year, where if we do, well, that's another great problem to have. But for preschool, that is too large for one
Yeah.
teacher to handle, and that classroom's not big enough for even 20 students.
Right.
So,
So can we talk about one aspect of that, when you say you want that teacher to follow all the way through? I think that,
yeah,
we mentioned that the other night, it's like, okay, that works great if everything's clicking, but sometimes student and teachers don't click so well, so.
yeah, because it would be easier for whoever we hire to that position to know coming in
but that's a
that
possibility.
that's
Yep.
what
Okay,
would
that's how it is
an
probably
option.
Okay.
would
Yeah.
more than likely happen, aside from
Yeah.
taking a current staff member and saying, you're now gonna follow.
So you're
Nice.
gonna,
Right.
and you'll kind of reevaluate that each year as it.
Yeah, because if
Okay.
it stays at the 26, that's above the number
Yeah.
that's been agreed
Like
upon
half
for
the class.
splitting.
Yep.
So,
Was she just following?
it's split into 2 groups evenly, as of now, 13 and 13. So then as kindergarten, we wouldn't expect that kindergarten teacher to take all 26 of them.
Right.
Right.
No,
They would have to
absolutely
go
not. No, no.
on there
Yeah.
and
That-
continue.
And that wasn't the concern. The concern
Yep.
was
If that
one
went-
teacher
if-
following like through 6th grade.
Through 6th grade.
That would
Yeah.
not be, I think that needs to just be something you looked at in a couple of
Yep,
years.
then as long.
For every year,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
truly.
On who to do it, and I mean, it'll be a staffing issue each year when that comes, because
Yeah.
people don't like to move. I mean, that's why I took the observation of the person coming in, the new they would
Know
know
that.
that
They know
that's
that, yeah.
what's gonna be, rather than reassigning somebody to that position from in-house and saying, now you're gonna move.
Right.
That would create, I think, a lot of discord on there, where the new person, they don't know any different, so it's just, they knew coming in that would be a potential option.
So then I would move that we follow the administration recommendation for hiring.
I'll second.
Second by Lee. Any other discussion on?
Are they, so you're saying new external, adding a person from an you know,
Yeah, we're looking, we've
Would
got
this be
three.
open to staff if there was a staff person who wanted to do this?
Yeah, we have 3 positions that have been advertised. We have the kindergarten, we have the title, and then we have a 1 through 8 position that's been advertised. And we've got about 9 applicants altogether. And even 2 or 3 of those are for that 1 through 8 position. So if we're able to hire, because that 7 and 8 positions are the difficult ones to hire. So if we get somebody that's wanting to come in and teach those, it allows us to reposition a lot easier and going down. We wouldn't want to automatically take our 7th, 8th grade teachers, whatever it is, move them down, and now we can't fill that position. So it's because the elementary ones are the easiest ones to fill. As soon as you get to that 7, 8 in high school, those ones become a little more difficult to fill.
I think we're clarifying, we're probably looking at hiring possibly 3 outside, new hires.
so over what we had this year, staff, is it 1.5? Is it gonna be 2? Because MTSS is 100% new, so that's 1 new position. And the preschool is gonna be half again, you know, as much, so that's another half. You see what I mean? Our salary's gonna go from here to here, or how are we moving people? Or
There would be an
We've
additional
had some retirements.
FTEs, yes.
so we're gonna have 1.5 additional FTEs next year than we did this year?
No, if we, at most, or at the least, we would have 1.
No, one.
One.
We would have 1.
If moving Tina now to
Yeah.
full-time and then the
Yep.
full-time, we would have 1 FTE,
Yep.
Okay, I-
correct?
Yep,
Yep.
More than what we had this year?
Yes.
yes.
Yep,
So if we liked a candidate for,
Yeah.
you know, we got somebody that was for 7th or 8th and wanted to come in and teach those, that would allow us to now reposition and reassign internally for the title position and for that other 3rd grade position
other
as
class.
well. So those would just be a reassignment on those ones, where that 7th and 8th grade would be a new teacher, and then the kindergarten would be a new teacher. So then you'd have those.
So budget, you guys met? Did you know about Cargill at that time?
yeah, we learned about
Yes.
it that night, yep,
So we can afford what you're,
We
what?
we believe so.
this year, yep.
It all looks like it fits within the budget constraints.
And we don't, the Cargill thing is still kind of, I mean, when you talk to the tax guys and stuff, they don't really know the answer yet because Cargill hasn't come to them, but
And that won't affect us in the
not in this
next year's
year.
anyway, you know, the way
Yeah.
it lines up. It'll be the following year.
And then when we
And we'll
go to
discuss a little
the
bit more when we get to our
budget and finance, I
Yeah.
have some numbers for that.
Okay. So, any other discussion? If not, we still need roll call.
Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes,
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Approved to move forward. Okay, so now, in-house, if you refresh my memory, was to the 13th. Out-of-house is to this Friday, the 20th. So then we will line up interviews, or
We're
what's the-
lining up interviews for next week.
Okay.
I don't want to wait because we're not the only school that those applicants
Correct.
are applying to. So, you know, if there's a good ones in there, we want to get going as quickly as possible. That way I can get my assignments out and teachers can know that they're moving and they can start thinking about, you know, requisition orders, and we talked about it today in our staff meeting, and moving stuff in their classrooms. So we want to get, I don't want to take a long time. Last week I already started looking into all of the applicants that we had had up to that point to eliminate part of that process already, just so that I'm anxious to get this done.
Okay, so we get to the 20th, then our people we have, will get something out to them about applications so they can look at them after we get the deadline of the 20th, or what's the?
As,
Michelle and Cindy are board representatives.
Or war
to that.
representatives.
oh, for the,
Only to look at that.
Oh.
For the
not-
ask.
Not for interviews, right?
No,
Oh, you're
no.
not-
Yeah, just the
Oh, it's
applications.
just for the apps, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
when-
And
yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
we can get you the ones that we have now. I mean, I think I have 9 of them or whatnot, and we can get that out to you. I just started looking through. We got 2 more today.
So I think they
I
don't need
thought
to
they
go
should be
out till
too, I
the
don't know.
20th, because somebody could pull them or add, or, I mean, technically, I wouldn't send it out to them till the 20th.
Yeah, if you wanted to wait, I mean, we can start the interview process whenever we would desire. I mean, but 2 days isn't gonna do anything really, so.
When are you thinking to start, like Tuesday then, or what are you?
Yeah, Monday, start calling the actual applicants and see if they're still available, if they haven't been hired, and then start setting up interview dates and times for that.
Okay. Is there any questions there? No?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I guess I got one. Is there any way, I guess, that you guys want on the interview committees, and how do you guys want that done? I guess.
In the past, we've had our staff, sometimes we've had representatives from one end or so of the teaching staff. We've had the superintendent and principal. We've had, sometimes I think we've had Melissa on some. I mean, we've had some different ways, but we've had
Okay.
some input from staff.
Okay.
Yes. So I mean, that would be where you guys want to make that decision there, I think.
Okay.
So maybe you can see where you're at with that and do some.
Especially when you have such a broad range that you're looking at, 1 through 8,
Yeah.
Yeah.
preschool actually, through 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because my idea was for the kindergarten position to, possibly include Mrs. Albright. I mean,
Which would make
she's
sense. yes.
taught kindergarten
Yeah.
forever, and she
Yeah.
would have a good idea on, the questions to
Mhm.
ask and what
I'd
to
say
be looking
applies
for.
to Sue and Tyler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
for
See,
sure.
them type of people that would be beneficial to have.
Yes.
I think we're fine
Yep.
with having those people there.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Great.
All right, board reorganization discussion. We talked a
No.
little bit.
Open enrollment.
Open enrollment.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. Open enrollments first, yep.
Joanne found some families who are not recorded properly in Power School. To rectify this, we're having those families fill out the appropriate paperwork so they can be coded correctly. It's just a formality on that, from that standpoint.
We've got 6 of them that need a
A
signature.
few.
Oh,
Okay.
So, yeah, just a formality.
Can we make them in one grouping, all, or
I would
how
think
do
you
you
could.
need it? All open enrollments, or?
Yeah, just, I would-
Yep.
Yeah, I
Applications,
would, I
okay.
would think,
Okay.
a blanket, approve those 6.
Okay. We would look for a motion, there's 6 that we need to clean up, 6 open enrollment applications.
Is that how you want me to word it? Clean it up?
So we know there's 6 of them, yes.
Throw a blanket on it.
Make a motion to approve the 6 open enrollment applications to clean up. Sorry, don't put that in there.
There's a second to that motion.
I'll second.
By Lori. Roll call.
Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Brett?
Sure.
Approved. Board reorganization discussion. We've talked about this a couple different times. This year we have no applicants that, for the positions that are up, other than Michelle's to fulfill Jason's term. So we talked about this the other night, and we think, do we have that discussion a little bit more, or what we want to do? I don't know where we want to go with that, or,
Did we bring in the map?
we didn't bring in the.
No, what, no.
No.
You guys know what the map, you know, explain what we were thinking. That's your job.
The question is, do we, for one is, do we want to stay with 9, 7, 5, pick a number there, what our thought is. We still have to have a petition from somebody, and then we'd have to have an app, want to change, we'd have to have a petition brought up by some patron, could be anybody in the district. Has to be signed by a third of the electorates from last year, the last election, so we need how many signatures, did you say 20?
7, 8.
7 or 8?
Yeah, so it isn't very many signatures. Then you'd have to have some meetings and explain what you're gonna do, what the plan would be if we change it, and then you'd have to have a special election to make that change. That's basically what the Century Code tells us in a nutshell what it has to be. We looked at different ways if we're gonna go to redistricting things, make it to open to everything at large. Do you stay with 3, 7, or 5? Them are the options. I mean, 5, 7, or 9 are the options that you can have. Kind of open to, do we want to relook at that? We've gone through the amount of years that we can do it. We'd have to just relook at our original paperwork when we went to the district to make sure that's, everything's kosher there. That's what the school board said, just to re-look at how it was originally presented when we formed the Barnes County North District. But that was just, we just wanted to put on for some discussion and see if there's anybody got any ideas, if we want to do anything or not. I guess that's where it's at. We looked at some different ways we could divide up in districts by east, west, north, south. Do you go all at large? It's just kind of an open discussion. What, do we want to do anything? Do we want to try to get a group together to look at it? Where are we at? I guess that's what.
Do you want us to tell you what we came up with?
No, I think we should talk first, and then you guys
Okay.
can say, I mean, personally, I think that 9 is a large number of school board members for a district our size. So I think 7 would be fine if you're looking to cut down numbers. And then I firmly believe that we need to do an at-large election. Because all we're doing by doing 3, 3, and 3 is keeping that separation. We're one district. We should be united, and it shouldn't matter if my house is in the North Central District or if it's in the Wimbledon District or Spiritwood. If I am part of the district, I'm part of the district.
We had that discussion. How
I
do
mean,
we
we
get
don't
rid
let
of
a
this
third of the
former-
basketball
former-
players have to be from Wimbledon and a third have to be from North
Yeah.
Central. We don't do that. So why are we doing it for the people, us, sitting at this table that supposedly are here for the kids? And we don't do it to them. Why are we thinking that needs to happen? So
Well,
for
we
me,
had to do it at first.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was
no,
the
I
proposal,
agree.
how we were in there.
I
Totally
discussion.
agree, but now we're
Well,
we're
now,
beyond
Yes,
that.
Yep.
that was
So-
a discussion we'd had last night, whether we quartered up and put it in quadrants, you know,
But why?
or at-large everything. I mean, that.
I mean,
I'm
we
not sure.
want people that want to be sitting in these chairs.
Right.
You want people that believe in the school district, who believe in the students and the teachers and the administration, and want to make this district the best they can be. We don't want to have to drag someone's butt in here every night or every month for a meeting or for all these other little meetings. You want people who are passionate about the district. And if that means getting rid of these lines, I think we need to think about that. I think it's,
Well, yeah, I'd agree with you on that, but then on the other hand, you don't want it all to land in one area either.
but again, you're in your head of thinking how it was. I think you're still in your head thinking, there's this district and this district and this district. You have to start thinking united. We're one district. It shouldn't matter where my house sits.
So we
So-
were, when we looked at dividing into 4, thinking just take the Urbana Road, Highway 9, and do 4 quadrants. Already that's off, because you have nobody in the northeast quadrant that's running. You only have Mike in this one, and you have you 3 in a spot that would be for 2, and then we would have 2 up at Wimbledon. So it's already skewed. And the only thing I've argued with you about is going from 9 down to 7. And it's all about committee meetings, and it's about people's time, and people struggle to find time to come to committee meetings. And if you took it and then threw another committee at somebody or another obligation, I think it's easier to get people to volunteer if they know it's not any more than 1 meeting a month.
But it is more than one
I
meeting.
know it, I guess,
So, I mean, it's-
somebody got
Rumors
told that
more
when he
than
got.
But you can, I mean, that shouldn't be a reason to, again, we want people that are passionate who want
Yep.
to be here.
Yep.
And that are gonna commit to the committees that they
Yep.
have said, hey, I'm passionate about this, so I'm gonna go to that meeting, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to be at that meeting. And, yeah, it's a job. I mean, it is another job. This is not, I mean, it's not like we're dealing with tons of lives. These are our students that start in preschool and hopefully stay with us until they graduate.
I-
And if you're not passionate about that, then you shouldn't be putting your name on the ballot.
I agree with that. And then we talked with Mr. Severslow, who's worked on all three sizes of these boards. Because we asked him how, he said they
Right.
all operate very similar. And I'm kind of a little bit, the problem I don't see is the number on the board, it's the areas, because we're trying to get people in areas, so we aren't getting the people that we really maybe want. So I'm not sure about the district. I'm not really concerned about the amount, and he said it's just, Mr. Sears said he's worked with all sides, they all function the same, isn't that basically what he said?
Yeah, he thought 9 has worked really well, so he
So-
didn't have a problem with that.
So we had a little bit of talk, is it the question of how many or the areas? And we're more talking about, we think it's the areas,
I mean, it is about getting rid of the boundary lines.
Yeah.
yes. And to get rid of the former this, former that, east, west, whatever you want to, we want to get rid of that. We want to, we're one. Like you said, Michelle, we're one, we want to start working as one, and how do we get there? And that's just where the discussion started. So now we're just bringing it back to, isn't like we have to do anything right now, we got to start thinking about it, because it will take some time to do this process, you know, to get it through.
Were you gonna try to get it done before June?
You can't.
No.
Yeah,
You
because you
can't.
have to have that.
Realistic,
It'll have to be a special election.
realistically, you have to have it,
So what are we gonna do for the June election?
June is gonna be a wide open election with write-in votes. There's no, that's where we're at. Because we've already, what you'd have,
Okay,
finding
but what
somebody in
I'm
your
getting, what I'm
area.
getting at is, okay, now we have 3 districts, or we're from
Right,
3 areas.
right now, yeah.
What if there's nobody to write in from Spearwood?
we
You
have
gonna write
to,
somebody else in?
we have
Can we let
to,
that happen?
no.
No.
It's gotta be somebody.
Right now, you gotta run your election just
As
as it
is.
is.
Lori,
As is.
Then, if there's, nobody accepts it, say, because nobody's petitioned for it, you could write in somebody,
And they don't
say
have to
I
accept it.
wasn't on and you wrote me in, I could accept it or not. If I don't
Yeah.
accept it,
It's
this
open.
board has
And the
to
board
appoint
appoints
somebody
somebody.
to next election. So we have to fill the 9 positions
Yep.
this election. However, nothing can change for this year. Realistically, when you talk to them, you'd have to have this in place, so you would probably have a special election by the latest February, first part of March.
Yeah.
So then you would advertise for your next election, knowing that there's a redistrict part. So you gotta have that plan in place. So you would have to have a special election, say February, March at the latest, for the following year.
So you really
That's kind
should,
of the time, what you'd have to look at.
really should throw a committee together now to make it happen. I mean,
But
if
like I
that's the
say, for this year,
desire.
we're gonna end up
It
with
has to be.
a 9-member
Yeah.
board come June,
Yep.
whatever those 9 member. If nobody accepts what's wrote in, we have to appoint somebody from that district for this year.
And then it's wide open after that. And anybody who wants to, if we go that way. But we actually have to take this to the taxpayers.
Oh,
don't we?
yes, that has to be
Yeah.
voted on, it'll change. They
I mean,
might
but
not
we have
even-
to have meetings
We
with
have to have meetings to
taxpayers.
explain what we're gonna do, how we're gonna elect, if we go to a different, right now, we're voting I mean, we're voting 3 people each time. You're gonna have to set up how your election's gonna be if it's
They
by
might not allow us
district.
to do this.
What's that?
They might not
Oh,
allow us to do
exactly.
this.
The
That's
papers
exactly
might
what-
say no, correct. We cannot do it ourselves, no. But we have to have also in place how we are gonna run the election, if it's gonna be, we're down to 7, are we gonna go 3, 3, 1, are we gonna go 2, 2? We gotta know how the parameters of how they're gonna fulfill their terms and all that type of thing in place.
You draw straws.
1, 1, 1, and 3 at large.
No, but I mean, how many are
They're
gonna
all
be
at
in year
large.
1 of the election, year 2, and we gotta set all that. There's more things than just saying we're gonna go to 7, or we're gonna go to 5, or we're gonna, you know.
Because it's like what we did, when we reorganized last time, we all did that. Within Spiritwood, we drew lots as to who had
Once
a
you get them
one-year term,
elected, you're
a
gonna draw
two-year term,
lots
and a
on 1,
three-year
2, and
term.
3 terms, yes, but you're gonna have to decide how many you're electing in year 1, year 2, it's gotta all be set up. Because we've done that one time back at our central site where we changed districts. Well, then everybody ran, at that time's how we set it up, was everybody would run, everybody was up for election, and then the top 5 were in, but then you drew lots, says, okay, you had a 1-year term, you had a 2-year term, you had a 3-year term. You drew,
Why do you do that? Why can't you just, you're elected for a 3-year term?
Because everybody would come do it at the same
You
time.
can't.
because you can't all come do it at the
No,
same
but
time.
we're all, no,
Not if
as
we
you're-
go, not if we
You
change it.
can stagger it.
But the new people,
Oh, I get you.
you know, I mean, we're staggered now already. I'm on a,
If
you know,
you-
my,
But if we
You know, I see-
reorganize, it's new again.
No, but I see where he's saying,
I
what
get
it
what he's
is,
saying.
if you reduce,
Yeah.
you will fill, as to say, you have a 3-year term, we might have 8 on for a year, you gotta fulfill that 3 years, you can't kick like move somebody off. You might be a year or so that you're gonna be still over 7, because everybody's gotta fulfill their
The
3-year term.
current term.
But it's pretty easy, it's pretty close to get it, because we elect 1 a year, 3 a year.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get there, but you might have one, just depends how everything worked out. You cannot go to 7 and that person not have his 3-year term. So you could have one that we might have an 8 for a year, or, depends on how everything would shake out.
That answers your question.
Is that not what you're asking?
Well, the 3 new ones that we're hiring now are how many year terms?
Will be 3 years.
3 years.
Okay, so they're on a 3-year.
Right.
Then-
That's what I say.
You know
If
what I
we
mean?
went, they still
Then
would have a
when I'm
3.
up, if I get hired back on, I'm on a 3-year term. I mean,
Correct.
can't we make it so everybody's not done at once?
Right, you have to.
It would still, we would still be doing that.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
So when
everybody's
we
gonna
make
still.
that, when we bring that out for next year to downsize or whatever, we're still on
Yes.
our years.
It isn't like
But-
all of us
but
start
when-
over and
But
we're
when our year is up, that person coming in knows, okay, I'm on for 3
3
years.
years.
So everybody, or 2 years, whatever, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you're not a 1-year person or,
No.
I'd like to, personal preference, get rid of the lines, so have it, everybody at large, keep 9. I've seen a lot of good with the 9, because there's so many different aspects of who has the strengths in the, whether it's the building or property management areas. Some have the strengths in the financial side of things, others have the strengths with the curriculum or the policy. I think you get just you get a more diverse, and it seems to run well. I'd like 9. And I think you could find 9 if you didn't have these boundaries.
Yep.
I don't think you're going to be able to get rid of the boundaries, because I think there are a lot of people in the community that are tied to those boundaries. It's easy to say that here and all that, but when it comes time to representing, and people are going to say, we're not represented on it, our voices aren't going to be heard because we don't have anybody from this area that's on that school board. So instead of getting rid of all the lines, however you divide it up, you would at least want one person from each area, so that each area can say they have at least representation. Now, if nobody runs, and as long as that's clearly communicated, they then can't come back and say, we don't have a voice. Well, nobody from your area chose to run, so we had to fill the position. But if you go and say we want to eliminate all lines, I think they're going to shoot you down if you come with that approach. You think about like co-ops in sports. They get just tied. What's our responsibility? What's our tie? That is how the schools are too. People are still very tied to their school areas. So if you try to eliminate those ties, and yes, in theory, we're one district, but we're one district comprised of many different areas that have just recently come together. So to try and eliminate that, I think you're going to have a hard time.
And that's an option too. You can still call for something from there and some at large. I mean, there's all different possibilities that you could look at.
But I think if you were to quarter it, that would still divvy up the districts pretty.
Or if you had it,
Try it.
if you did the north and south,
Yeah.
you're really not.
Because we had talked north of 9 and south of 9.
Yeah.
Just
What
right
it-
down the middle.
What are they representing? It's not like we're in a town. I mean,
know.
they're not representing, there's really, I don't understand what
It's an
the.
archaic attitude.
It's
that
just
they're
the attitude,
representing.
right, and so we want that moved. We want to shift that it's time to change that attitude. It's not like city versus rural. I understand that difference. We don't need any differences. We need to get people who are passionate about education, and if they all happen to live in Courtney, so what? So what? That's what we get as the best board we can possibly get to make this an excellent district. To keep kind of this old-fashioned idea of, well, something might happen because, if nobody's from Wimbledon, then something bad will happen to Wimbledon, then run.
Well, I think we've got it on the table. We want to maybe look at this. So I think all of us go back and think on it, visit with some people, and then we come back.
Visit with young people.
Or see, just get some ideas. That's what we thought, just throw it out there, because this is our concern, and I think the concern is more the districts than the amount of people on it. I think it's more the districts and how do we get away from the old mindset that it's all, and maybe we can go with, throw out some 1, 1, and 1 and at large. Or there's different combinations a guy can do, you know.
Just
Might
don't
be good to look at it in
gerrymander.
order tree.
I mean, just get some feelers out there, just visit a little bit. Not that we're locked into anything, just take the pulse, see what everybody's thinking and that type of thing.
Ask those 25 people that come vote.
Yeah, because there's all different possibilities a guy
Right.
can do.
Go visit with people, they're like, oh, what, school board?
So that was what we had, just to start taking a look at it. But right now, we're gonna have an election that, the only one on the ballot's gonna be Michelle, and to fill Jason's spot, and we're gonna have 3 other positions that are all write-in. That's where we're at for this year. Okay. Correspondence and board discussion. Any correspondence anybody has? Okay. Committee reports. Presidents, I don't have anything. Career and tech, I'll roll through a few. We talked about the ones that won awards from our school. We had 35 students that participated in the Skills USA. We had 12 award winners. And Mr. Wilson went through the ones we had. So also at Career and Tech, we talked about, the fire inspection was done by the state fire marshal. Everything's fine there. Val Mortz, who's on the state board, reported on the hiring of the new director, which would be Wade Sick, who will start in May. He'll be new CTE director. We hired an automotive aide, Tim Bosch. He went to school at Moorhead Tech, a younger fellow that is working out real good in the auto division. We also hired Heidi Barnett from Mohall for our ag position, so we have an ag teacher. We're gonna put her on a 20-day extended contract the first year to get everything set up. We talked about our adult ed program, which is not just Valley City. We are the regional spot for adult ed, so we encompass Jamestown. We haven't heard anything back on the grants, which that program is all grant funded. But we voted at the board meeting to issue contracts for 100% in Valley City and 80% in Jamestown, which is the same as last year. We're hoping to get about the same money we had back last year, but we're gonna offer those contracts. All the other contracts are back except for informational technology instructor. So we are looking for one of them. We opened up that position. We've been looking at the updating of the LED lighting in there. We had 4 estimates come back. We tabled them till next month so we can look a little bit more on, make sure they met all the specs we had and that where everything's apples to apples. And we're also gonna get together with Valley City Public. I'm gonna sit down with their boys and see who they're using at their school and see if we can coordinate something together. We did our business manager evaluation last month, which we do every year, and that was all satisfactory for Mindy at the vocational center. Started a discussion about wages for staff. We talked about that. We're gonna finalize that next month. So that's about all I have for career and tech. If they have any questions there. Not, we'll move to activities director. Does he have?
Yeah,
you got
just,
those?
I got all the rest of them. Activities director, spring activities banquet will be conducted on May 21st for track and speech. And then I can go to the extracurricular. The Central Dakota Titan Football Co-op meeting will take place on Wednesday, May 2nd in Cooperstown, beginning at 7 p.m. Let one of the committee members know if you have any items you would like on the agenda. The committee met on April 10th to discuss a number of items. The group will get back together in the near future to discuss coaching, salaries, incentives, and other activity positions within the realm of extracurricular. And then I have Mrs. Bitt's technology update. An introduction to Schoolology training date has been set for staff on May 9th. Mrs. Undum, Mrs. Haugen, and Mrs. Bitts will be attending several different webinars prior to the 9th and use that information to train teachers. Mrs. Bitt is currently preparing information for parents just to give them a heads up about this tool for next year, and it will also be distributed to them again in the fall. The Cube service is ending at the end of this month. It was purchased by the NFHS School Network. Mrs. Bitts has sent a notice out about the discontinued service with the Cube, and she has archived all the board meetings. The April board meeting will be uploaded to the NFHS site since the cube will be down in a couple weeks. Information will get sent out on how to subscribe. It is a service that users will need to pay a subscription fee to in order to view certain events such as athletics. Other events such as school board meetings, concerts, graduations are free to the viewer. Laptop applications, we have 27 of them, and currently we have 20 students with laptops, so if all are granted, we would be adding 7 more. She has asked for feedback on apps from teachers and students, and will know by the end of the year if the students will know if they get a laptop by the end of the year. Mrs. Undone, Mrs. Haugen, and Mrs. Bitts are attending a Maker Space conference tomorrow and plan to work on writing a grant for some equipment when we get back. And there is a STEAM program through VCSU that they have inquired about and are waiting to hear back on. And Mrs. Bitts will be representing BCN and presenting at a career fair next week in Valley City.
Do you know anything on this Maker grant? Is that something we are cost sharing, or you know anything about that?
The grant would help in getting all the supplies, and those of you that aren't familiar with the Makerspace, it's just an area that students can go in and work on projects, have free time to experiment with things, to go there. It's not a class, it's not a structured environment, it's just those students that have ideas and want to expand on those are able to go in there and work on things. There have been many instances where people or students have invented things in there and then ended up selling them to corporations, you know, and getting patents and things like that just throughout there. It just helps the creativity and all of that, and it would be a good idea with a lot of the engineering stuff that we've had in the school, that students would still be able to work on that even though we don't have a teacher that's specifically going to be able to teach those things. They could still work on those things in that space.
My question though is, when they're looking for grants, or do you know before they're applied if if we're gonna have to match some? Because we've worked with Melissa a little bit with the Development Corporation in Valley. Before they're applying for grants, I'd like to know what our cost share would be on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
I mean, before
know,
they go ahead with it, we would need to know that.
Yep. On there, I know when Jamestown implemented theirs, that, you know, they had a lot of area companies that contributed to it, so the cost out of their pocket was virtually very little, if any. So yeah, that would be something that would have to
go in on it,
before you
we
start
need to
going
know.
in on it. You have to find that out.
We
Yep.
have to know that. Okay.
Yep. Let's see.
Building and grounds.
Building and
Bus.
grounds. We'll be sending out specifications for a new bus in the near future, and we'll open bids at the May 16th Board of Education meeting. And then budget and finance. The committee met on Monday, April 16th to discuss budgetary figures and plan for the future. It was this committee's recommendation to hire a full-time preschool teacher to address the number of students that we have for the upcoming year. Further discuss the closing of the Cargill plant in Spiritwood, and they have found that the BCN school receives $168,871 in total taxes this year, and that's what will more than likely be received for next year. The total taxes paid were $374,000. They will continue to pay taxes, yet they may petition the state to have them reduced, which we don't have any control over. So, open to anyone who has any additional information or insight on what's going on with that. I know just from the radio that there were 55 positions that were affected, you know, and they have the option to transfer out of state. And I don't know how many parents of students that we have that, you know, are affected directly by this or whatnot. So it'll be interesting in the coming months to see how much of an effect that has on us, student-wise.
I know they were talking to us about, you know, they're trying to get a story in the Jamestown Sun. I know they were trying to think that cargo was 20% of our evaluation. Well, that is not accurate if he prints that, because 20% of the evaluations is just in Stutzman County. Because their full and true evaluation's 46 million, 224 million is Stutzman County. Barnes County has 355 million, so, and I haven't got Griggs's numbers, but if you put them two together, it's almost 575 million, so 46 million is not 20% of our evaluation. So, I mean, that's something that he was looking to run on the Jamestown Sun, and so I don't think your numbers are quite accurate.
That's why the writers are not
Yes.
mathematicians.
So, but yes, there still will be tax there, because there's still property there, so it isn't like that 168 is gonna totally go away. You know, we won't know what it's gonna be, and they've been working it down, correct me, because they've been working down to an obsolete plant. So, I mean, they've already done a lot of working down already, so I'm not sure much more where that's gonna go as they work on selling it, so. That's about what we know on budget and finance, or what we've found out about the cargo. I don't know if you guys know anything more down that way here.
Next one is the curriculum. The curriculum committee met on Tuesday, March 27th, and recommended that the PE health requirement we currently operate on be reviewed and changes be brought forward to adjust it. And there are some other changes that need to be made. And myself will explain the new requirements for personal finance. I didn't have a chance to partake in that meeting due to training that I was at. I'll first explain the personal finance. It's my suggestion that we take a half a credit from our electives and move personal finance into a required course as a way of fulfilling our Choice Ready requirements. One of the essential tasks is for our students to have taken a half credit of financial literacy. And it can't be a part of a class that's an elective. So Mrs. Heinze's facts class can't be used as it because not everybody's required to take that class. If you were to do that, everybody would have to be required to take that class. So if we add that in, eliminates that deficiency. Because right now we have virtually no students that have ever taken that class. And we now have a business ed teacher who will be able to teach that class. Otherwise, we would have had to start having them take that as an online course. And my preference is to make that a junior-senior class. Because as a former teacher of it in Jamestown, we petitioned to stop having our freshmen and sophomores take it because it was essentially a dumping ground for them schedule-wise, but they weren't mature and ready enough for the content that is in that class. They're still 3 years away from graduating, you know, so thinking about taxes and pay stubs and all of that stuff, that's not even what they're thinking about. But as a junior and senior, most of them probably have jobs, have bank accounts, saving accounts that they're working towards, so they have an interest in that. And it will do our students justice to have that class, especially when a lot of them will just go to work potentially right upon graduating.
So do we do any of that now?
A little bit of it in facts class, but not a lot. You know, maybe 1 unit worth of stuff. It's there's quite a lot of it when you start looking at the curriculum for a 1 semester class. That is very vital, and you know.
Will that be a mandatory class?
Yeah,
For-
that's yep. It would go into part of our requirements for graduation, and a lot of area schools have that as part of it. Simply
Good idea.
because of now we're moving to that Choice Ready. That's one of the essentials. It's not for college ready or anything. That is just essentially. If you don't have that, whether you would qualify for college ready, military ready, work ready, because you don't have that essential skill, you're not ready in any of them. So we have to get that. As I was looking through, we would have quite a few that would be deemed Choice Ready, except for that. So it's one of the areas that we have to address, and it's easy enough for us to address it because we now have a teacher who can teach it. Otherwise, we would have had to force them to start taking that as an online class.
So does that change, if we put that change in now, does it start with the ones that are gonna be freshmen next year, or does it start immediately?
No, I'm putting my senior, because the Choice Ready starts now. Our seniors, are they Choice Ready this year? Now, it's a continual growth model that, yes, your numbers aren't gonna be as Choice Ready higher, but we're looking for growth next year. So next year's seniors, they get it, we're gonna have more that are Choice Ready as a result of that, and we're gonna show that growth towards all of that. So that will be just implemented right away. Had I been able to do it sooner, I would have had them start taking it as an online class for this year's seniors to be one of those options, just so that it would be able to get them into that Choice Ready. But I wasn't aware of, it was at the last meeting that I had to ask the exact question on whether or not, because I knew the facts had touched on it, and that's where I got clarified that it has to be a required class. It can't be a part of something that's an elective. It has to be a required class that everybody's required to take for it to be able to count towards that aspect.
So you're gonna get rid of the half credit of FIAD then? Is that what, to make for that?
That's not my recommendation.
Is it the committee's recommendation?
I don't know. I wasn't there
The
because
committee there.
because if we get rid of the half credit of PE, and again, that's trying to let a couple students dictate your graduation requirements. Currently, as it is set, students in grades 10 through 12, as a result of us not being able to offer some, are able to take 22 online courses if they want to. And in my opinion, that is way too many online courses. By taking away that half credit of PE, all you're allowing, because it's just one semester, all you're then having them do is take one more online class. And to me,
Pretty soon they don't have to come to school.
huh?
Pretty soon they don't have to come to school, right?
And it's just looking at it, looking through it as sophomores, because we're not going to have our sophomores going to the Career Tech Center. They still have 3 elective class periods that they're able to take those online classes. Or if they take in-house elective classes, then it's down to 16 online courses that they're still able to take up till they graduate, which is a lot of online courses. It's a lot of time for this year in the library. And most of them don't work on their online courses in the periods that we give them. Most of them work on that stuff outside of school on their own time. They use the time in here to do whatever. And because, I can go on there and it can say that they're on track. I mean, I can't really get on them for, you need to get work. Well, I'm 3 assignments ahead. So we just give them the time in school so they can't say, I never had any time to work on it. I didn't get any time in class. We give them, but very few of them use the time in class. And speaking with a lot of them, and it's one of the reasons why I don't like it, most of them will tell you they don't learn a whole lot, So allowing our kids to take up to 22 of those is, I think, but we have to, because what's the alternative to that? But also I'm concerned with the abundance of cheating and plagiarism that's going on in those classes. And kids are going to learn, especially some of our seniors next year when they go to college and they have to submit a paper to an online program that checks for that. And now they're going to start failing college courses as a result of things that they're kind of able to get away with in these online courses, because they're not our teachers. It's just some teacher in another area that's just on there, and how little you have to do in these classes to still be able to pass them. is concerning to me as well. So, and that's all that eliminating that PE requirement would do, was just give them one semester of taking another online class. Now, if they were only, through the course of our school process, only able to take 1 or 2 online classes, I could see that they would be missing out on something. But we also have a problem with our kids not being very active, being on devices. Kids don't have to get up and move from their bedroom, their couch, to talk with their friends. And it's just, so most of them that have spoken up this year, it's just they don't like the idea of having to be active. They want to be able to sit in here and do nothing. Text with people, be on the internet, doing other things that have nothing to do with education, because they work on all that stuff outside of school. So that's what I would have said at that meeting.
And we didn't just, we had our thoughts without your input. So we kind of tabled it. You know, we did say that we would come back and visit this because we wanted to hear from you, you know, all of that as to why.
And I've got it, because like I said, it's only a half a semester. So the first semester, next year seniors would be in that. Then they'd be done. They could take a class that second semester they needed to. That second semester, the juniors that haven't done would be in that class. So after next year, our seniors and juniors are already done, and the following year, we're pretty much right back on track to where we were at. So it's not gonna do anything schedule-wise.
Jamie, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I do. So a couple of months back when this FIAD issue kind of came to head, it was discussed that you couldn't change the requirements until the incoming freshmen started. So this is kind of the same issue with this business or this class you wanted to add. How about the seniors and juniors that have their classes all planned out? They saved these classes for their senior year. And they're full. What do you do? I don't think you can force them to take that other class if you're just adding it now. And their schedules are already full or over full.
Well, I would say that the incoming seniors, they're not, because nobody's schedule's been done, and if they are, they're a result of online classes.
But they've been planned for 2 or 3 years, planned out to know.
Because the only required class that seniors really have is their POD and their English. And then it's open from there. So that's 2 periods, meaning they have 5 periods to
They don't
have other
5
classes.
periods where they can just pick whatever they want. I don't think.
And most of them have taken quite a few online classes up to this point already, and it's, well, I've already taken that, I've taken that, and it's,
I think what his point is though, for as far as planning, I'll use our daughter for an example. She's saved anatomy for next year. She saved biochemistry, you know, just all of these tougher classes for what she plans to do with her future. Yes, it may not be built in our schedule yet, but she's planned the classes that she hopes to take her senior year to make her ready for the field she hopes to study. Is that what you were,
Yeah, so
right?
she may need that study hall, you know, that I don't think she's ever taken one in her high school career. She might need that to get some of them tougher classes done efficiently and adequately. I think you're just forcing more classes onto them.
well, I mean,
And
with
it's not
those,
planned
that's,
ahead of time.
you know, using Shannon, that's 4 periods. You know, she still has, you know, say she keeps the study hall, she still has 2 that she has, you know. And she's one of the ones that, you know, for the time that she's in here and supposed to be working on her Spanish, got quite a ways behind in that, because as a result of not working on it during this time and working on other things.
Working on other homework.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's what I'm saying.
She's not
She's
sitting here
not,
doing
no,
this.
no, but she's not using that time to work on that.
She's
You
using
know,
from
she's working
9
on
o'clock till
other
midnight
stuff.
to work
Yeah.
on it, because she has the other stuff that has to get done too.
Yeah.
So adding another class in there is not gonna help, I don't think. That's all stop there.
So you guys said you table the committee, are you going to have another committee meeting, or what's the thoughts here?
It sounds like we should.
That was my understanding. from
That's
the
what we,
meeting.
yeah,
I mean,
but
is
it
that what you
hasn't been
guys thought?
scheduled yet,
No,
but we
hasn't
should
been
have
scheduled,
one.
But that's because Mr. Wilson was unable to
The
attend.
plan was to have another meeting.
Yes, so that we
Right.
could
Yeah.
hear this
And because,
know
and there
when-
was also this discussion, which we had a little bit on that FIAD, is could you, count a varsity sport as a half a credit? And the more we got into that discussion, the worse it got, because it was, maybe a quarter credit. Well, what if they just, and then the parents expect them to play if they,
And then the,
And then to be taught by a certified.
Yeah.
to have to have a certified teacher of record. Who would that be if it was, it just seemed that was kind of,
Not gonna happen.
that was a little bit difficult. So we'd probably just drop that piece, and that's where we went to, why don't we just agree with the state requirements and say one FIAD, right? Or was it a half FIAD and half health?
It could be half FIAD and half health.
And
Only one
I
credit in
and
for
I
that
agree,
state.
we're not active enough, but I don't like solving that at the expense of, but I didn't know your side with the 22, possibilities they can take. So we need to discuss this more.
For sure.
So that's why I think get back and make some more discussion in curriculum, and so I would just you or Mr. Severson set up another time
why
to do
would
that.
you let Mr. Wilson set it up if he's
Yeah.
the guy? that
Yeah,
does
he-
curriculum?
for sure.
So get it to fit into your schedule.
Yeah.
Probably the most
And then we
important
can,
one.
and then this personal finance, we'd have to vote on that,
Right.
to add
To add
that.
a class.
And so I would like to learn more about that. I think it's a great class and everyone
We
should
have to
take it.
vote on any
But
change
does
of
that,
Yeah, yeah.
are we gonna
Yep.
be
Oh, yeah.
changing that immediately? Like for next year, we're gonna say,
I think that's an awesome class to have.
you can't get out, you can't get out.
And it's just
Yeah.
my
In a
suggestion to have all the seniors so that we have them all choice ready. If there are some that it doesn't fit into their schedule, well then, those ones will just not be deemed choice ready at the end of it.
But
And,
we'll still let them graduate.
yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with graduation.
At what point are you gonna start requiring this in our, requirements?
If that's a requirement.
See, I think eventually we are gonna put it in as a requirement.
Yeah.
So we
So
just need to
then,
decide when that's
the
gonna be.
required part, if we want to do required for freshmen, but, I would start scheduling students into that class anyways, just
Oh, yeah.
because it affects our progress reports. It affects that when, the state is requiring that our students be choice ready in military, work, and college, where that's a big
And this
factor in
piece
it.
fits for all those. They have to
Yeah,
be,
yes.
have
It's
this in
an-
order
it's-
to get in either one.
You can have all of those,
Yeah.
but if you don't have all of the essentials,
Right, and this is an
you're not.
essential.
That's an essential.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it sounds like a great class.
So I think we get something scheduled and get back and have a
Yep.
committee meeting to bring something back to us. Okay? Anything else on curriculum right now? Okay. Education Foundation, we have nothing, you have anything new there? K-12 principal.
I combine my stuff with all of his stuff.
It's all blended now.
Yeah. And then for his
Well, I
report.
got a question. See, last month you weren't here, but we had a scheduled staff in service March 16th. What did we do for that staff in service?
We didn't have an in-service.
Okay.
When I asked Mr. Severson about it, I can't remember what he explained to me, but it wasn't, he said that it should have been switched off of that as saying staff in service. Because I had went to him probably October and asked him, you know, what other in-service days do we have? And he said those for 2 at the beginning of the year, that's all that we had. So we gotten rid of all the early outs and things like that. So I went to him and I asked him, so the one that it says staff day, and he goes, no, it had something to do with something else that was going on or whatnot, and not
I
sending.
had a speech meeting.
So I'm not 100% sure, but it should have been switched on that calendar of saying not that professional development or whatnot.
Okay.
Do we have school that day?
We do not have school.
No.
So I'd have to see if that's part of our counting days. I mean, I'd just have to go look at that. If we didn't have anything that day, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay? Then another question I have.
Mike.
Wait,
Cindy.
it was an in-service at BCSU that was optional we could go to.
And he said nobody went.
And yeah, because, well, we emailed him and asked, because he said there was a stipend and whatever if we would go. So we emailed and asked him how we could do this, and he didn't get back to us. There's 2 teachers that emailed me, that I know, maybe more. But I just know 2 teachers asked questions about it. We got the information on it, but we didn't get any further on it. So I know us 2 did not go, because we didn't know what to do.
Okay. Then another thing I got a question on is, I'm sitting on the vocational board, in which we have Maple Valley, Valley City, Barnes County North on. All of them got City County Health to come out and talk to the schools on Narcan. All of them had to present to their boards if it was gonna be in the school. Maple Valley, Valley City Public, and the vocational school had recommendations from their administration to enter a memorandum of understanding to put Narcan in the schools. I haven't seen anything here. Has it been done? If it has, they're still waiting for policies coming out, school boards associated for it is implemented. Have we got it accessible before the policy's been out? Have brought anything to us about a letter of a memorandum of understanding?
To the school board, no. Mrs. Albright has been working on that. She's already done all the training for all the staff members on it. And her and I met with the people that came out for it.
Teresa will, 'cause I
Yeah.
talked to Teresa.
And we met on that and we got all of that stuff. I didn't realize that it had to come
That's
to the.
what most of the other ones have
Okay.
done. And then the Valley City Public said they're waiting for some thing coming from the school boards about, before they set it in the building, for some policies on it. So they
Okay.
have not actually put it in the building yet. Have we got it put in the building?
No,
It's not accessible in our AEDs.
as far as I know, no, it's not. Because I don't think we've gotten the packages from them yet. And Mrs. Albright is the one that's doing all of that. She did the training and said we would be getting that stuff, but I'm not
So,
sure if we've gotten it.
How do we do the training? They come out and do the whole? or how
No,
did
she
they-
got trained on it, and it was just a 15-minute training
So the
session.
rest of the staff
For
needs
the
training on
re-
that?
No, everybody's gotten it
Everybody's
already.
got it?
Yep, everybody's already gotten that training.
City County Health came out.
Yes.
Yep. But Alyssa did the training for the staff. Because,
No, she
City
can't do
County
it.
Health
She didn't.
did training.
City County Health would have to do the training,
Yes.
right?
City County
Yes,
Health did the
City County
training.
Health came out and did the training.
then what was the 15-minute?
That's it.
That was it.
That's it.
The video,
Because I know
15
Alyssa.
minutes?
I was in there with
the one
Alyssa.
I went, it
I
was
went
another gal.
when City
She
County
was
Health
just
was here.
Okay.
standing.
I don't know. I only went to one.
Yeah, she had 3 of them, and I went to that last
Right.
one, and
Oh, no, I went to the second
Well,
one.
you guys don't even want you to get trained now.
I don't know.
Okay, so will we see anything, or it's in, the thing is signed?
yeah, I can get with her, and then we can get you all of that. I just didn't realize that we had to
all the other schools
Get
brought it
through that.
before their boards. So my
Okay.
question is, have we done everything? Is it here? Are we looking for policies or where we're at on it? I guess that's where I'm at, what I'm asking.
Yeah, we're at the point where we need to get policy.
Okay.
Your list just keeps getting longer.
Have you anybody talked to School Board Association to see if what their policy?
Valley City Public has been dealing with the school board because they weren't putting it into their schools until they got a policy that school boards were working on.
Yeah, we better get that and then bring our
And that
policy.
was a month or so ago, and and probably next month I'll know more at the vocational end because we're looking for the same thing.
So are we saying, let's wait until we get
My
that?
question was, the other schools have held off on putting it in place until they had a policy. My question is, if we've had the training, they've give us the stuff, from my understanding. So have we is it in our AEDs or not?
I will have to, look.
I'd prefer to wait till we have the policies,
Okay.
like you said the other schools are doing.
The other ones are putting it in with their AEDs.
yes,
Mhm,
that's what
That's
they,
where it should go.
yep.
Yeah. So just to clarify, I just want to know where we're at.
It's in there.
It's in there? It's in there? Okay. I just wanted to find out where we're at on this, because nothing's been brought to us about if we're putting it in or not.
Yeah, I didn't, and in talking with them, they didn't mention anything about the school board, so, yeah, I can get all that information to you, and then we
And
can,
you can touch base with Valley, maybe they've got something, this is a month old, I mean, what I've got, and they
Okay.
might have got something within that time or not. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Wilson on this?
We're working well, pretty good.
yeah, because I mean, I'll be honest, Mrs. Albright's been doing the legwork on all of that, and,
And maybe it's not recorded, but all the other schools
Yeah.
have processed it that
Yep.
way, so that's just a question, because I know I asked Teresa about it when I had a meeting with her the other day, and she said, I think you've got it all. I said, well, everybody else has run it through their boards. And she said, well, I think it's there.
You did a
so,
good job.
I mean, a easy way of doing it, is that how, when you first put in the AEDs, was that school board approved before those were put in?
That would probably be a little different, because they're working at policies for this
Oh, yeah,
thing,
because,
so
yep,
that would be the difference. AEDs they were kind of, before that, they're in everywhere.
Stand.
Yeah.
They're more of a standard type thing.
You did a good job.
Okay.
Well, it's not mandatory, that's coming.
No,
I think
no.
we got one thing yet, Mike.
What's that?
At our extracurricular meeting, we were looking at giving Justin Schlenker and Casey Everson $400 each for making it to nationals and helping incur some of the cost of that. So we were kind of,
It's $800 a person going to nationals.
It was about $950 for Schlenkers.
was it $950?
No, I got a question if you're, no, when I read on the when they put up the second national site, it said your school can only enroll in one. So only Justin went to Utah.
Yep.
So the other one, can he still go to the other one?
Yeah,
But
he's
he
going
can't
to-
enroll as a school?
No, he's going to Kentucky.
But they said on there you can only enroll the school in one national
We
tournament.
we didn't have enough going as a group to enroll as a school, so they're going as individuals.
As individuals, okay. So where would you
We're
bring this money
recommending.
from? Would you recommend to bring the money from?
Did we have that? Oh.
No, I don't know where we're gonna get the money from. Yeah. Thin air.
I got a quarter.
I mean, because in the past, we've done things for archery, they talked about not doing anything for clubs, that went away in the past. I mean, years back we did, and then they talked about not doing that. So I mean, I'm just saying, where would anybody think they would get that money from?
Because all the accounts were spoken for, right? We went through them all.
Oh, were they?
Well, I thought there was one yet that had,
The only one that's hanging there is yearbook, which we don't know where we got with
oh,
yearbook,
yeah,
right?
that's in there too. They're doing
They're
your,
working on it.
Right, so I mean, they're really
There
not,
really isn't.
there's no unused
There's no
or
stagnant ones.
stagnant funds. that-
We sorted all those out and got them separated
Yeah.
now.
did I don't know?
The board have any other thoughts? We gotta address this club
Yeah.
thing at some point, but.
Well, and that's what we talked about is so much was done for dance this year, and dance, archery, and trap are all in the same boat. So either we gotta treat them all separately. I mean, we can't favor one over the other. So we either do the same for all or none for all.
Right.
And that's where we're at. And so much was given for dance this year. Well, now we have archery going to nationals, and have we done anything for archery in the past?
Yes, we have. Amy has checked and we have done for archery in the past.
And so do we know what those numbers are?
You
How do
have-
they
You have a
compare?
rough number, from what we could find, we're still looking for if there's anything more, but you
Yeah.
got a rough number what we've contributed to archery in the past.
Because we used to pay the coach.
Just a
So where
total
did,
kind of.
so where did that
number.
money come from?
That money, it came from the school, so they made the
Extracurricular.
decide that they were,
$12,000, wasn't it?
what's your kind of total that you've come up with so far?
It's about $3,000 over the course of 3 years.
So say $1,000 a year.
No, it's closer to, it's
That's a
3,500,
question.
it's 35 to
So we have-
3,600.
We
To
didn't
answer your
know that
question-
in that, we didn't know that in that meeting. I didn't.
No. It's either, it's other club, I mean, we're gonna talk, if you're talking clubs, you got the young kids, I'd call them Thunderfoot, whatever you wanna call it, football, that group. You're gonna have robotics that we've had in the, I mean, there's other, it's gonna be more than just them three. So, I mean, we gotta come up with something, what we're gonna do with clubs.
And I always question whether we can spend taxpayer dollars on something that's not. Yeah, I question whether we're reaching where we shouldn't be reaching.
Right, but
Well,
we,
we're for
but we did it.
For dance, though, we took it all of activity money, or we took some from the foundation. We took it out of
Right.
an account that was stagnant.
Okay,
And then we gave some, we didn't take school dollars to go to
okay.
nationals for dance. I mean, I'm using
Yep,
dance, but we
yep,
just.
I got you.
That's my struggle.
So the question we.
But what about all the school money we did use for dance throughout the year? All the uniforms, all the,
Right, and that's
all the
where,
travel,
I don't
all
think
the
we
hotels.
knew all about that
No.
as it was going. You know, and that's why we said we'd have to sit and look at that.
Will we have any extra activity money to put towards that?
No.
No.
That's what, we've looked at the accounts. There's no
Yeah.
stagnant account. Like last time we used that stagnant account that Kurt had raised some money for, that he said
yeah.
he'd roll.
And we thought the swimming, and that is being used, we found out.
Well,
Oh,
and
yes,
that's-
okay,
that
that was
was-
the one I was looking
Yeah,
at.
that-
That was donated
That's
money
donated
too, so.
money,
Right,
and
but
they're
I
still-
mean,
and they're still
we,
using
but we
it.
still
And that
use it.
is
We didn't know
being
that,
used.
and Amy found that out.
I would really love it to go back and you guys really figure out what to do with the clubs. I mean, and it's outside of what you're asking, but I think it
Yeah.
needs to come back with a plan. If you're talking a dollar amount, put a dollar amount on it so we have an idea.
And that's what we have to do, we have to decide,
Yeah,
you know, we can't give $10,000 to dance and then
exactly.
say,
Correct.
we can't give anything to archery or
Mhm.
trap or anything else.
Has there been some things with the dance that just don't, even from the coach's side, because that was all in a stipend before, and then it got rolled into that, which we did not know either.
That can't happen next year.
You know, so there's gonna be some changes there, which we told the dance people when they were here, there's gonna be some changes. Because that got moved out of, it used to be just as in the agreements with advisors, so much for dance, what used to be cheerleading morphed into dance. But that was still in there, but it was never on the coaching salary schedule. It was always in as a stipend type thing. So we've got to look at all that, what we're gonna do there. But what they're asking was asking for 400. We still have to decide if we want to do something there. That's board decision. I mean,
Well, you said 400 each.
Each.
So
Yeah,
you're
so it's
asking 800.
$800.
And really, with that Harold talked to us, he said is it your extracurricular profit and loss, you have to decide. I mean, it's always pretty much going to be a negative. I mean, you're not going to bring in enough ticket sales at a basketball game to pay for that. So to what level do you want that negative to be? I think we should just pay these folks right now and make that a more $800 more negative, but this is it. It's got to change for next year, and that is, here's
Because
our
that's-
policies and make it
Well,
standard.
the policy is there that we're doing, right now, the policy in place is nothing for clubs, because they changed that.
Well, I know, but we
But I mean, I'm
messed
saying-
that
We
up
made the
this year.
But we
So
gotta try to see what we can be as we move forward.
we want to try to be fair, so just do this time, and then we shouldn't have any more that we don't know about, right? There's nobody else coming out of the woodwork
What
that's
about
going
our-
to
what about
nationals.
This isn't archery. What about,
This
this is archery, what about the other shooting club? Is there anything coming up?
They have a lot of grants and,
They've already-
They've
Thanks.
done
But
that.
but they have just a state meeting. I
Okay.
don't know if they have a national.
So know some of the others, and what we get to when we're talking about, can set up dates. I mean, they have end dates and start dates. There's different things, but. So what you would say is if we do that, we would take it out of our general fund, $800.
right.
A general activity fund, yeah.
Why are you shaking your head? Amy?
Well, you say general activity, but
Yeah, there's two
there is no
different things.
general activity. It's
No.
general
You're gonna have
or
to take it out of
activity.
general fund or the activity fund.
And there isn't any available dollars in
In
the activity
activity.
fund.
So it
You're
has
gonna
to
take
come
it
out
out
of
of
all
general fund.
earmarked.
So, well, what's this extracurricular profit and loss?
That's the extracurricular fund.
Why don't we take it out of there?
And go negative in some
Yep,
category.
we're already negative
We're
in
already
there. I
negative
mean,
anyway.
Okay.
Probably not
I'm
quite.
just
that-
curious, that's my question, where do we
I
want to
would
take, I
take
want
it
to
out
be clear where we're
of,
taking
I
the
would
money.
take it out of extracurricular for this year only.
Not
You know.
only that, they could be able to set up some kind of fundraising mechanism or something to start
Yes.
building in those, and that's what I'd recommend.
But I mean, I'll throw out something else. I said, we've got people that just qualified, you're talking clubs, everything else. You got people from the school that just qualified for Skills USA, they're going to nationals.
Right.
You got 3 that right now are going to nationals. And that
That's the same. Gonna
gonna
And how much
be,
is that one gonna cost?
It's been a thing for many years, like rodeo. I mean, we've had kids go to nationals and rodeo. I mean,
see, there's a
so
lot
it's
of different
something that's
things.
been going on for years. And yeah, I would 100% agree. There's got to be some kind of policy because there's things that our kids do to represent, our school, and it's coming out of parents' pockets, which is fine. But you've got
Gotta
yeah,
be
you've
Right,
got
you
to
across
center it
the
this way
board.
and that
Yeah.
way.
It's a big deal because there's so many more activities. There's so many more club activities that kids are getting involved in. So.
Depends on if it's school club, I mean, my
Well,
grandkid
our-
just went to Iowa last week for nationals.
Yeah.
Our problem is
I
we
mean-
have a policy.
We have a
and
policy.
We went beyond it. So are we gonna make it fair, or are we just gonna shut it off? The policy is if it's not a North Dakota high school
Activity
activity, we're not
sponsors for it.
sponsoring it.
And that's why we shut it off, is because it became something that,
Until
that gives
this year,
away.
I thought dance was.
so did
North
we.
Dakota High School
I
Activity
did,
Association.
I ironically did too.
We're all
Just
taking that as we
beyond
thought
that.
it was a high
Yeah.
school activity sponsored
Yeah.
sport.
I don't know how come we thought that, but we did.
So I'm open to what we
Well,
want
and
to do, but I just want to know for
mean,
sure where
if we're
you're
gonna
taking
do
the
the
money if we
archery,
need it.
we should do the Skills USA. I mean,
So what is the price tag to Skills USA?
we'll just even do
They're
$400 a
doing- They're doing
kid.
fundraisers, buy some tickets from there. At the vocational, we have a policy, we give $300 per kid to go to nationals. We have a set number that we budget.
Oh, that's kind of a good idea.
We have a policy in there, what we're gonna do to
Sorry.
go to nationals.
Am I a little wishy-washy or something?
No, that's.
I mean, but that's something that's school, that's not a club, that's
Yeah.
our
Yes.
school stuff, that's different. Kids go to other things as club, the vocational doesn't do anything for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of clubs in rodeo, I mean, all these kids go to a lot of things and a lot of them can move on to get something, yeah.
Well, I think we need to visit that policy or put something in place for those if they're gonna wanna be part of that program or do some fundraising through here. But I don't know that we're gonna decide that right
No,
now. I
we're
guess the
not.
biggest question is,
The question is what
do we
we're
wanna
gonna
put the
do.
$400 in each one of those?
Yeah, that's the question right now.
There's a
Then-
precedent for helping these archery kids go to national. We have done that for several years, I remember that. So there's a precedent for giving money, I don't know where it came out of, but that is there. There's a precedent this year for helping other groups go to national. So we've done that this year. So if we say no to the archery kids, I can't explain it other than we made mistakes on these other things with dance. And then in the past years, so why did we help them with nationals in the past years and we're not helping them this year? I think we need to help them with national this year, because
And the reason we did, and then we quit with the national thing, and then we said no clubs, and that's how come that, and how come it went and it didn't go and stuff. I don't think we stopped midstream here, actually. But I think that we put, you know what, say July 1st, there's new policy, and anything that
Regarding
comes
clubs.
after, new year, new policy, and just don't let it get any bigger. We have to get a
And that
control
would
of
give us
it.
time to.
Yeah, you
To
gotta-
put
you gotta
together
come up with
something
that
instead of a gut
addresses all
reaction.
those different areas.
Because
Right.
we've discussed it at the
Yep.
curricular meeting or extracurricular,
Yeah.
how do you do it? Do you just give X amount, or is it, it could be something like, there's talk about a football co-op. The kids from Mid-Dakota were going to Carrington, and they're saying they only have to pay $50 a kid. Well, so if it's something like that, if there's $50 a kid and there's 20 kids in the club, it would be a rolling number every year, but if there's 20 kids in this club, maybe you give them $1,000 and put in their account.
And then they have that,
And then they have that money.
yep.
And,
And they
and if there's
fundraise.
30 kids in archery, you give them $1,500, There's
There's different
There's
ways to do it,
way-
and that's what we'll have to
There's so
look
many
at.
That's what
different
you
ways
gotta look
to,
at.
how to do it, and
I think right
And
now, though, I guess I would vote for sending $400 to each of the
Individuals.
individuals on
Out
archery.
of the extracurricular money.
Money.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Okay, that's what the motion is. You take 400 for each out of extracurricular. Is there a second to that?
second.
Any other discussion?
No good deed goes unpunished.
Roll call.
Ann?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Lee?
yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Mike, sorry.
Okay, anybody have?
Left to talk to Cindy.
Just on that, I will say, when you guys go to start making that policy, to also keep in mind that when you're doing it, what are the fundraising capabilities in this area for your students? Because, I mean, it's been a nice thing or whatnot, because I know in Jamestown, every group, on those clubs, they're fundraising. I'm used to having, throughout the course of the year, 20 kids come up and ask me if I want to buy something, because that's how they do it. So when you're looking at putting that policy in place, you have to also think about what is the potential fundraising ability of our community and our students that are in these. Because you don't want to say everything has to be fundraised to do it, because I would probably say most of them wouldn't be able to go on these things if they had to just rely on the fundraising that they were able to generate.
My question a month or so ago was Enterprise, which when they brought it to us, said we want to do these things, it's for the kids. And that was supposed to be trying to supplement fundraising. So why aren't some of these addressing Enterprise for some of that dollar?
I think it was working, because from what I've been told down the line, I mean, and then when they went to Florida, just exuberance
I
amounts
understand.
of money.
Right.
So I think that has the ability to do it. Somebody has to regulate it and be in charge of supervising the finances.
Right, which
of
now
it.
has been brought back into the
Yes.
school, so I want to know what's that money going to be used for? Is that going to be something that people
That's
can
something-
apply to, or?
Yeah, that's something that will have to be determined on what, if there's a profit, where does that profit go? Does that just go right back into enterprise?
Right.
Or does that get designated into a fund that multiple entities can pull from if needed.
Apply to, I mean,
Apply to,
there
yes.
might be a group that they would be able to set some criteria,
Yep.
what they would give it out to.
So that would have to be oversaw by somebody, and now that it's going back to the school to designate who's able to take from it and who do you
Well,
have to
we'd have to
go
come
to
with
be
that.
able
Right
to
now,
s-
it's just into the account here, so we
Yeah.
actually got the monies in the school where it was not
Yep.
before.
And that would be part of that, probably that policies and different things that we would look at, or what would be accessible to these groups or clubs,
Right.
or how that would be dispersed.
Because
Well,
you
we
know,
talked
Kelly
about-
brought up rodeo, it's like I totally forgot about that one. So how many other clubs are out there?
That's what I say, there's more than these three, that's what I was trying to get a point, there's a lot of
That's something
clubs.
that we gotta
We
do
need
some
like a
research
running
on this and
list
put this
of
together.
what those clubs are.
We did
we have a
mention
real
a
idea.
one-page getting approval for fundraisers. Remember when we mentioned that at one
Yeah.
of these meetings? Has that been done, or have you seen a sheet? Because what we'd like to see is, did you do that?
I did the form.
Okay.
I gave it to Mr. Severson for his approval.
Okay, and that's where,
That's, yeah.
okay, so we wanted to, just because we don't want, 6 clubs selling Firehouse pizzas at the same time. You
Yep.
want it to go through a central place that says, this is our timelines on the fundraisers, who's gonna hold the money, which we already got that figured out. But those are, and you don't have to approve every fundraiser, because you can't keep hitting up parents with, all at the same exact time doing the same thing. That would be where, that's a little bit more.
I mean, you can approve them, it's just how successful are they gonna be?
Right, and then they would know,
You
they'd
know,
say, oh, the
it's-
dance team's already selling Firehouse pizzas, maybe you guys better think of something else. So then they,
$20 will make sure nothing bad happens to you.
Okay? Anything else anybody has?
Sounds good to me.
Not, we're adjourned, next meeting, May 16th. We're
At
adjourned.
7.
Or at 7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
It is, it's hard.
Because
Yes.